our definition of sustainability and environmental design fundamentally has always included the equity question. You know, I don't know how you can say you're an environmentalist and you believe in sustainable design and not believe in equity across the board for every aspect of relationships between people and architecture, and between architecture and the environment. I mean, it all kind of goes hand in hand. And you know, the environmental measures that have long included, you know, qualitative things about relationships include things like the well building system, and you know, those actually, I think, do on a lot of fundamental levels address equity questions. But you know, one of the things the pandemic has revealed for sure is that the inequities in environmental design become inequities in terms of social equity. And you know, the examples are everywhere. You know, there've been a lot of, you know, there's been a lot of recent focus clearly on just even where people get to live. You know, so from an urbanism perspective, you know, those sites are often really compromised environmentally in profound ways. You know, there's a huge petroleum manufacturing plant that I pass lots of days going into work. I live a little bit outside of Philadelphia, and it's right at the base of a bridge going over the Schuylkill River into Philadelphia, adjacent to huge neighborhoods in South and Southwest Philly. And it's been there forever. It's now abandoned, finally, owing to a huge conflagration about 18 months or 2 years ago. But all the neighbors next to it are, you know, some of the most impoverished, you know, families trying to live in Philadelphia. They're next to a toxic waste site, basically spewing, you know, bad air out onto them. So you know, I mean, this is all tied up in one big comprehensive package.
What about the role of technology? Do you think that architects, as being technologically savvy, are able to not just reduce the harm that we do, but to actually turn that equation around and start doing good for the environment?
I'm not honestly completely sure what role technology plays in that. You know, I mean, to me, it just all comes down to just what's your ethic? You know, what's your fundamental underlying core ethic as a human being and as an architect, your personal ethic and your professional ethic. And to me, they better be one and the same, or you're in trouble for sure. So, but you know, the technology is only an enabler, you know, and it can provide us with deeper information and more of it. So we can't plead ignorance, and or you can't do it as readily as one might have in bygone days. So that part of it is useful. The capacity of it to help us manage that information and you know, analyze it and manipulate it certainly is helpful. You know, but it's really just an enabler. It doesn't change what we do if we don't already have the core underlying ethic, you know, to do it, to just do it. You know, so I just see it as another tool set, frankly, that is often overemphasized, over-aggrandized in terms of outcomes, you know, what it can do for us. You know, I think the fundamental problems today aren't the technology, it's about the ethic. You know, it's about owning the whole of the problem
Yeah.
you know, from individuals up to
Mhm.
total urban environments,
Mhm.
and taking some responsibility for it, and asking yourself in all the millions of decisions that go into any project, you know, what's the ethical thing to do here? You know, what should we be doing?
Mhm.
Not the formal thing necessarily first, but the ethical thing. And then, you know, you use the tools to help you shape form around it. But the tools don't do us any good whatsoever, I think, in terms of, you know, getting at the core of this problem without, you know, just the instilling of a deep, you know, environmental ethic, um, and a vision of that ethic as one that cuts across human ecosystems as much as it does across, um, you know, the ecosystems outside of us as individual human beings. And you know, but it's one big thing. It's one big thing that we all got to own.
Yeah.